Welcome, everyone, to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt and
Tom Bridwell.
hello.
Woo,
It seems
woo.
like it's been a long time since we've done this, but
I guess just a couple weeks, but
Yeah.
a lot happens in 2 weeks.
Yes, indeed.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
How do y'all feel like the summer just flew by?
yeah, I don't even,
You probably don't live in seasons quite as much
I don't
as parents
really,
with children.
yeah, I mean,
in
my
school.
grandkids, I mean, I'm aware of it because I know that they're around and they've been to camp and done all sorts of things, but it's
been-
different when your kids are, and they're going, oh, I don't want to start school, And
Does Betty want to start school, Tom?
Yeah, she's ready. She's ready. Ready, Betty.
Ready, Betty.
That's right.
And what grade is she going to be in?
She'll
Third?
be a third grader this year.
Yeah.
And she's very excited about the people that are in her class. She just found out yesterday who her teacher is, and the kids that are in her class. She's excited because there's two classes of each grade.
Per grade.
So every year, if you stay at that school, you kind of flip flop every year around. It gets random. There's like random placing of all the third graders into the two classes. So she's got a bunch of new kids this year in her class that weren't in her class last year, but were at the school.
That's fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
Expand your horizons.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's super great. Okay, we need to thank our sponsor today. This is a sister and sister-in-law who generously gave enough for the next 2 episodes, but they want to remain anonymous.
Oh, that's so nice, whoever you are.
Thank you.
I hope you know who you are.
Well, maybe they'll know because it was a woman and then her sister-in-law.
Uh-huh. That's really sweet.
But they wanted to remain anonymous.
That's so cool that they both listen and like it. And
It's super cool.
yeah.
I was walking in to get tomorrow's Craig's birthday.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, and so I was walking in to get cakes for him and cheesecakes from the Cheesecake Factory. Have y'all been there lately? That place is a zoo.
No, I haven't been there.
I have never. I mean,
I've been there, but I don't go there
Yeah,
anymore. We used to go there
I know.
some.
I don't.
Yeah.
It's a zoo. Anyway, I was walking in and a total stranger stopped me and said how much I'm so glad I remembered this because this is the funniest story.
What?
Okay, it'll be quick. But she was walking out. I was walking in. She was with her 2 little girls, and her oldest had said, so she's always listening to The Remedy in the car. So her kids sitting in the back seat are always listening to The Remedy. And her daughter came to her with a problem, and she was like, sit down, honey. And her daughter was like, why do I have to sit down? She was like, well, I want to talk through this with you. And she goes, Mom, are you going to do one of your therapy podcasts on me?
That's
And
so
so she was
funny.
like, this is the girl that I'm always listening to on The Remedy. And she was like, are you serious? You're the girl on the radio?
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
I know, it was so fun.
Oh, my
Are you
gosh.
going to do your radio therapy on me, Mom? Or your podcast therapy on me,
That's
Mom?
so cute.
Oh, it was
my
really
gosh.
cute. I'm always so humbled and grateful
Yeah.
when I hear that people listen.
Yeah, me too.
Speaking of-
I'm always surprised.
I am too.
I'm like, really?
Yeah. You listen? Why?
Yeah.
But speaking of, today we're celebrating our 250th episode.
Da-da-da, da-da.
That's pretty spectacular.
It is.
is.
Yeah.
250 is
it's
a lot.
amazing. It's a lot.
It's a lot of BS.
Maybe we should have a beer on the next one.
Oh, okay.
I'm all for it. Well, Janice has to work after this.
Yeah, I do. That might not be too good for my client to come and me a beer on my breath.
I'm sure there's been worse.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Speaking of getting back to school and every year, I mean, the first day of school is such a big deal.
It is.
But a lot of parents, especially my age, I thought this would be a good topic because so many of my friends are either nearing empty nesting or becoming an empty nester.
Yeah.
I'm sure you remember it.
I remember
very well.
it well.
And so I know that around this season, a lot of parents are thinking about that, dealing with that, putting their kids on planes. And I mean, Carter leaves tomorrow morning at 7:15.
Are you glad or sad?
Yes.
Good answer.
You know, there's more balance when Carter and Anna Print are gone because it's just me and George. It's
easier.
Yeah, it's just so much less chaos. But we always have family dinner on Sunday night, and I cooked. And Sunday night dinner is just so much dang fun at my house, and it's always just the four of us or Craig too. And Craig was there last night, and I'm telling you, the giggles and the laughter and the joy around my kitchen table when we're all together is so. I miss that.
You'll miss that. I know it.
Because when it's George and I, sometimes
it's different.
George runs out of things to talk about.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought it might be helpful for a lot of parents who are dealing with their kids getting back to school or leaving, or maybe they just graduated and they've been home for a couple months, but they're about to start their job or move out. And I know for a lot of parents, there are a lot of mixed emotions.
Well, it depends on too. Is this your last child? Is this your first child that's not going, that's leaving and going away to college? Or leaving college, I mean, at least when they're in college, you still have a big connection. You're paying, for the first of all. And then secondly, I was just telling a client earlier that he was talking about his kids, and we were talking about how fun it is to go to college, for your kids to go to college. And I said, honestly and truly, when all of them, Bryn and Wesley went to Texas and Blair went to KU, so I went to all their parents' weekends and their moms' weekends for the sorority and all of that. And it was so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
So that part of them being gone added a whole new dimension, because we'd always stay at the Four Seasons in Austin when I was there for the girls.
Now I can't afford to stay at the Four Seasons in Austin. That's so outrageous.
And it was so great because they'd get there and put those robes on and hang out on the bed, and then I mean it was a fantastically fun experience for me there. So that's different because they've left, but they haven't left.
Right.
And then when they really leave, then it's even more different.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's not. But I never really struggled with it. I never felt overwhelmed with sadness about it.
I was not overwhelmed with sadness when Carter and Anna Pryn graduated last year and went to college last fall.
Now, is George going to be a senior?
George is going to be a senior. I think I've heard from a lot of parents that the first one is the hardest. You kind of, after the first one goes, now you know what to expect, or, you understand that they're gone, but it's not gone, and so you learn a lot, and then so the unknown isn't quite as unknown for second or third or fourth or whatever. But I think George leaving is going to be harder on me than the twins leaving, because it's my last.
Yeah.
And I think that there will be so much change with that.
Yeah, but I think also for you, I mean, you're getting married, and so that is going to really take the place of, in a lot of ways, fill up your life with fun things that will make that pain much less intense,
I'm sure.
I think.
Yeah.
Because you've got this whole new phase of your life, which is going to be really fun. And I mean, they never go away.
Yeah, look at your girls. I mean, you are such a huge and involved person or parent of your adult children. I mean, they're grown. They all have their own mortgages and blah, blah, blah. But you're still very involved.
Well, I mean, I participate too. Like I'm taking all the grandkids to the Barbie movie this afternoon. And
that's so cute.
And so there's a lot of activities, but what is really different is that my children's lives, I really stay out of it. Mm-hmm. I do not get involved in the do's and don'ts of their lives.
Oh, sure.
I really have made a commitment to not try to tell them. I'll offer my opinion if they want to hear it. Mm-hmm.
But that's such valuable advice for all parents because, I mean, I've said this as many times as I can on this podcast, how that is such over-involved parents are such a problem in these young couples that I'm officiating their wedding and doing their premarital. I can't tell you, over-involved and over-engaged and over-opinionated and over-controlling parents cause big problems.
Well, and it takes the fun
couples.
Out of it for the couple.
Yes.
So that part of it is, there's relief in that, because with my adult children, I would never, I would be so sad if anything happened or if they made a really terrible decision and, but it's not my decision. So that that separation is actually kind of relieving.
Freedom.
Yeah.
It's loosening what should be loosened.
Yeah. It's time to do that.
Yes, but a lot of parents really struggle with that. So, I'm the same as you. I have really enjoyed my kids going to college. I had a lot of fun going to Parents Weekend, and I just made my reservations to do all that for the twins this year. And, Craig's getting ready to do that. It's super fun. But I know I have a lot of friends who have really struggled with their kids leaving, going to school, them not being home. I mean, a lot of mourning and a lot of tears and a lot of missing and a lot of I think over involved in their kids' lives because they're just having such a difficult time letting go. And I'm sure you experienced that with some friendships.
Well, yeah, and I think that,
and probably clients.
Yeah, and I think that part of the problem is that it's not a problem until you make it a problem, because you have been very involved in your kiddos' lives for 18 years, for 20 years, or however many. And so that has been that was really my primary job, was that.
Yeah.
And so there's a blank space or a void once they go, just because it's different. And there was I Googled this morning when you suggested that we talk about this, Tova, and it was the way things that we could do to kind of help getting through this empty nest syndrome. It says, once the last child leaves home, many parents experience feelings of sadness and loneliness. Empty nest syndrome isn't a clinical diagnosis, but it's a term used to describe these feelings. These feelings can be confusing and surprising, as they seem to conflict with feelings of pride for your child's accomplishments. Learn more about how to manage empty nest syndrome, accept your conflicting feelings, and when to seek help. So then she talks about dealing with the change. Did you see that thing that I sent you?
Yep, I'm reading.
So
through
I
it
thought
with
we
you.
could just kind of read through this and kind of give you guys some ideas as to how we can get through these feelings. First of all, the first thing I want to talk about is being able to identify your feelings and being able to feel your feelings, because those feelings of sadness, you may have some anger about this being over, or I don't know, there are all sorts of things, but being able to identify those feelings is just human. And so you can allow yourself to feel those feelings, and that'll help kind of push you through it.
So will you remind everybody the different kinds of feelings that you can have?
Well, there are 8 basic feelings. I hope I can name them off. Pain.
You usually just rattle them off like it's no big deal.
Pain, which is sadness. Joy. Oh my gosh. Anger. I don't know. I can't remember. Speaking of our next subject, which is getting older.
Exactly.
But there are all sorts, but if you Google feelings, 8 basic feelings.
I'll Google it.
Then I probably have that. See, I always give
You always had a feelings chart.
Well, I always had a feelings chart, so I didn't even have to really memorize them.
Well, I remember when I used to go to therapy with you, you would the 8 feelings, you would have it on a chart.
Yeah.
And I think that was always super helpful to identify the feelings. Okay. Glad, guilt, shame, fear, anger, sad, lonely, hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hurt, lonely, sad, anger, fear, shame, guilt, and glad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So identifying your feelings, I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah, and accept that it's normal. I mean,
that's the first thing that this article said, isn't it?
Yeah.
That your feelings are totally normal.
They are totally normal. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember feeling sad when my kids graduated and went to college. I was so excited with them, because they were so excited. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of ready for it. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I
am more sad about my kids leaving this time than I was last year. I think by the time senior year was over,
you were so worn out.
And senior summer, you remember, that summer after senior year, before freshman college year.
Yeah.
The kids have no responsibility. There's really no accountability outside of you haven't gone to college, so there's no expectations. Yeah. I mean, you're just outside of having a summer job. You're not thinking about internships.
Oh,
You're not it's just a party fest, because and if I heard one more it's my last. It's my last. It's like they had an excuse to do whatever they wanted because it was their last.
Yeah.
I'm like, can we be done with all these lasts,
That's exactly
right.
But
this summer, the kids were more serious. A lot of them had internships.
Yeah.
And they worked harder. They worked longer. They had to, some of them took summer school. It just wasn't this free-for-all that I experienced with my kids last summer. So Carter is going to dinner with his dad tonight, and Anna, Prin, and George. And so I was like, and then he leaves super early in the morning, and Topher's taking him. So I was like, will you come over before dinner tonight? And so I can say goodbye. And when I said that, I got my throat got a little tight.
Oh, I know.
It's just because it's so, and I'm so happy for him, and it's time,
Yeah.
But so there's way more excitement than there is sadness, but the void. I mean, you use that word.
It's in the absence of the energy in the house. That's a big thing. You're like, man, it's so quiet.
And Carter and Anna Prin just bring so much energy.
Yeah.
That's just different. So I will miss.
Yeah.
I will miss that, but my sadness won't last long.
No, it won't. It won't.
But I think accepting that your feelings are normal, whatever they are, is.
Yeah.
So the advice on how to deal with the change, I think some of these are really good, especially leading up to, the months and maybe even the years leading up to when your children are about to leave, preparing yourself.
Yeah, I tell people when their kids are juniors in high school, that's the time, probably the best time to really start visualizing how that's going to look and how you might feel and what are you going to do as far as filling that time, because it really, that senior year is so... It's so crazy and fun, and there's so many activities and everything that I just think then it's like bam, then they're gone.
And it's really expensive.
Yeah, it is really expensive. So I think it is really important that you kind of start thinking, okay, my kids are juniors in high school. I need to start thinking about this.
Yeah, I think that's tremendous advice. When I was a youth pastor, I remember several parents coming into my office after their child left, and they had not prepared themselves personally, for their child to go. And it was just like devastation.
Well, plus, then if you have a couple that is not particularly getting along that well,
or happy,
and they have been, that has not been at the center of their attention because they've had these kids that are graduating and all of that. And that's one of the things that can be really pretty scary is when you realize you're stuck with that person as your partner or spouse, and it's not good.
Right. That's maybe become a stranger.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, Janice, some advice that you gave a long time, years ago. And I remember you asking me when I was going through my divorce, I learned it from you in counseling. You said, how did you and Topher make your relationship a priority? And I said, we didn't. Our children were our priority. Yeah. And you were like, no, and you're like, that's going to be something that you're going to want to watch as you begin to find a new partner. And she said that you advise all of your clients who are married to change zip codes once a quarter. And I have told friends that, I have told clients that, I have told anybody who will listen to that, because I think and one of my dear friends that I was walking with a week or two ago, she said she heard you say that on the podcast, and her husband have been doing that. And she said that has changed. And she's about to be, her youngest is about to go to SMU.
Oh,
and so, it has changed her and her husband's relationship. Just that paying more attention to the marriage.
Yeah.
Preparing the marriage for being an empty nester.
Well, and you think about it. You people get married. They're so excited. It's so important. And the minute that first baby is born, the focus will tend to slip over to the child, and somebody's going to get the short end of the stick. And that's pretty scary when you're a new parent, because it's so easy to be so overwhelmed. The feelings are so intense. But as far as parents being able to make time for themselves and going out on dates, and getting a babysitter, maybe going out, I really encourage couples to go out of town every quarter and spend, a couple of nights, or for however many you can, in some ways a long way away to where you just can't be there. So I think that's really important. I'm glad that you brought that up, because that couple, once those kids are gone, you're like sitting at the breakfast table looking at them going,
oh boy,
what now?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really important.
So one of the things that this article advises, and there are a couple of things, is consider starting a new career or starting a part-time job if you haven't been working in a while, or take a class that you're interested in, take up a new hobby or one you've put on hold while taking care of your children.
Yeah.
Volunteer to a cause you care about. Use technology. Well, that's a given to keep in touch with your children. But I think that I think that parents should be doing this all along.
Yeah.
To keep some semblance of self while you're still raising your I've felt like that's important the whole time I've raised my children.
Yeah, me too. And there were times when I was overly involved in something outside of my home that really kind of, maybe I spent a little too much time. I did a whole lot of political work for some candidates.
Wow.
And and it really took a lot of my time, and I had to cut back because I had kind of gotten lost in that. So making that balance work for you, especially if one kiddo is going away to college, then you have another one left at home, and so if you get really involved in something, then the one at home may suffer a little. So it's a little bit of a balancing act, but you need to have a life.
Yes.
You need to, and if you don't have one that is apart from your children, you need to get one.
Yes. Now.
Yeah.
Like right now.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter. I had a client that absolutely loved to cook. And she and her kiddo was going to college, and it was her last one, and she said, "What do you think I should do?" And I said, I don't know, but when you talk about baking and cooking, there's some energy that I noticed that I don't see in anything else. And she said, "You know what? You're absolutely right." So she started a catering thing, and she just became this fantastic caterer and baker, and she just slipped into that because it was something that she was passionate about. And I can remember walking by Eatsy's when my office was on Lover's Lane, and I would watch the pastry chef making these cakes and icing it and everything, and making these cakes that looked like these fantastic things. And I thought, okay, I could do that. So I decided to start making birthday cakes shaped, and I did a Bugs Bunny one, and nobody knew what it was. You couldn't even tell because I'm a pretty good cook, but I'm not an artist. And so I thought, okay, yeah, that's not going to be one of my pursuits.
That would definitely not be one of mine either.
Yeah, I remember my first husband, Kurt, looking at that and say, "What is that?" And I'm like, "It's Bugs Bunny."
You can't tell. That's
but
really
I do
funny.
think that would be, and it can be volunteer work, for a cause that is going to really sing to your soul.
Totally.
Because you've got lots of years left.
Lots of years left.
And it's
amazing how most of our lives we are not raising children.
I know.
I mean, especially if your children are really close together in age, like yours and mine are, relatively speaking. Like, it's not like I have this 10-year span. I mean, my kids are two years apart. And so a majority of my life, I will spend not raising my children.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that you have some self-preservation in all of that. It cannot be the only thing.
It really can't.
I hope it isn't the only thing.
Well, and it really puts a lot of pressure on the kids too. Yeah. I can remember my mother when I got married and moved to Dallas from Lubbock, and she was really kind of lost for a while, and then she started doing a bunch of volunteer work. She had always done volunteer work, and it really did give her a life. That helped her get through that, because she was really, really sad when my sister and then several years later, my dad died, and then she was really lonely. So it really is important, everybody. And if you are on that cusp, I mean, really any time, like you said, it's going to make your marriage better if you have a life away from your marriage.
Yep.
And
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And so you might as well start it now, because, when the kids leave, it really is. It can be really difficult for people. I also think that I like this statement that says, realize that your role as a parent has changed, not ended. So
that's great.
We are still that. We still I will still say to somebody, if they say, are you Bryn's mom? Are you Wesley's mom? Are you Blair's mom? I'm like, yes. So I love that identification, and so it's not like there's, the box is shut on that. You're going to do it for a long, 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 long time.
Yeah. I mean, you're to a degree, you're still doing it.
I'm still doing it. And then there's all of those grandkids.
Yep. Which is so much fun.
Oh, my gosh. They are so much fun. The Australians have been here for a couple of weeks. Wesley came with 3 of her kids, and her oldest son stayed in Australia with his dad. But it has been so much fun, just having their energy.
I bet they are in hog heaven.
They're
Although,
so
are they
cute.
dying with the heat?
Kind of. They couldn't believe it.
It's shocking. Yesterday,
it is shocking.
I looked at the forecast for the next 12 days until August 18th.
106 or 8 or something.
Every day with no rain in
and
sight.
like it's winter in Australia.
Yeah, I know.
So they came here
suffocating.
Yeah.
It's shocking.
It is shocking. I don't get it.
So there was some great advice on, or not advice, but some in the same article that he talked about, he or she, I don't even know who wrote this, talked about some of the great positives of your children growing up and becoming an empty nester. And I thought we could hit on a few of these and maybe it can shift some of the perspective.
I think that's great.
With the people who are super sad.
Yeah.
The first one, we've talked about it a little bit, more freedom.
And if that isn't right, I mean, I remember just kind of celebrating the fact that nobody was going to come in at 2 a.m. and wake me up or me think I'm awake sitting in bed waiting for the police or the hospital to call me.
Totally. I mean, the other night, Anna, Bryn, and Carter were out bowling with all their friends and they're texting me their scores. I mean, it's 118 and I'm like,
don't want to know. I don't care.
Can we talk about your 128 in the morning? Because I am actually working tomorrow. Yeah. But yes, I love the freedom that comes with being an empty nester.
It is.
Oh, better connection with their spouses.
Yeah.
Talked about that. Time to pursue your own goals. Heck
yeah. And spend some time thinking about what are your goals and what are you futurizing and what can you fantasize about in the future and what kind of travel do you, I mean, I've had so many friends go back to work in real estate or doing travel agency stuff. I mean, there's so many things that can give you goals and the opportunity to do things that you just couldn't do when your kids were at home.
Yeah.
It's really an advantage.
Oh.
It's huge.
I'm already visualizing what I'm going to do when all of my kids are gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
because you don't want to take all of that and shift it over to Craig and it be then enmeshed in a meshed relationship that way.
No.
Individualizing yourself when all your relationships are really important.
Oh, yeah. No, in fact, I mean, I can't wait to get married to Craig, but if I'm worried about one thing, it's losing every bit of me that I have.
We won't let you.
You know, I just love being so independent.
I know.
And being single's been a really beautiful thing for me.
Yeah.
So, you know, a couple of my friends have really taken up gardening. And planting their own herbs, and that's been a really fun thing. Craig's parents do that. It's the cutest thing in the world.
Yeah, I don't do that. Tom has
I can see
a pot.
Tom doing that.
Tom has we have a big planter, and he's got basil and thyme and oregano. And
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Last night he fixed pasta with marinara sauce and used all of the herbs from the garden.
That's really cute.
Yeah, he likes that.
He's such a Renaissance man. We have pride and joy. Another perk is having pride and joy in seeing our children succeed. This one's interesting. Improved relationships with their children. Mm-hmm. Why do you think they wrote that?
Well, I think that sometimes it's hard when you're being awakened at 2 a.m. and your kid is, continues to be late to come home, and then you're trying to ground them or something like that.
And they're looking at you like, what?
Yeah. And
I stay out till 4 in college.
Yeah.
And you don't even know.
So I do think that can improve your relationship because you're just not so close to it.
Which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I know it.
That dynamic shift of like losing a little bit of the parenting and yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. When's the last time I've had to say, "Did you brush your teeth?" And
yeah.
I think that's all I said for the first 10 years. How many times do you say that, Tom, to Betty?
A lot.
Yeah.
But I will say that looking at some of those kids' smiles at Camp Mystic, I felt like Betty was in the top percentile.
Oh, that is so funny. Yeah.
There were some pretty janky teeth amongst those kids.
And it's been a month before mom or dad hasn't asked, "Did you brush your teeth today?"
They know. Did you brush your teeth any day while you were at camp?
Nope. Fewer day-to-day stressors. That's for dang sure because they're just not there.
Yeah.
And then continued involvement in their children's college and adult lives. Mm-hmm. I think that you have modeled that so well for so many. I mean, I've learned so much from just watching you.
Really?
Be a parent, and the things that you say about how you parent adult children and how you do the transition.
Yeah.
I mean, I am such a better mom because of the advice that you've given me about how you did it and how times you stubbed your toe.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, Tova, you're so cute. Thank you for saying that.
Well, it's true. I feel like I'm just such a healthier human.
Well, it just really helps to keep your identity separate from your child. And especially when you're going through this empty nest syndrome and you're staring at your husband and he's staring at you and you're like, oh, now what, you know? And it's just, if you will lean into that and just really love the stage because it really is fun. I loved going to the girls, all of their college things, you know, and meeting those young people, and they were so fun. And there are a lot of really fun things. So look forward to that.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that you said that I just want to hit on one more second before we tie this up is, you know, I don't think that parents understand when we are too invested in them. I don't think parents understand the pressure that puts on their children.
Yeah.
And it's not a child's job to make sure that the parents are okay. And if the kids are at college worried about mom or worried about dad, that's just not a healthy dynamic.
No, that's sick.
Yeah.
It's sick. Don't do it.
Yeah. Well, you said it much more abruptly than I had a friend that I recommended go to you, and I was like, "Did she kind of kick your ass?" She was like, "She totally kicked my ass." I was like, "Yep, she kicked mine for many a year."
Oh, come on. I'm so sweet.
You said it with a smile. Well, we hope y'all found this to be super helpful and that you guys have an amazing week and good luck getting everybody back to school.
Oh, my. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.